Right everybody, welcome to my newest video, my newest project for Tower of Trees. So without further ado, let's get right into this awesome project. Right, so I start off this awesome build with a huge cylinder, this huge cuboid type thing. And I first measure it out, I do some crazy measuring. And then I have this cool idea of having these cool cylinders on the side. Now actually this goes horribly wrong, as you'll see later on in the video. It doesn't work out for me at all. So here I was trying to experiment with these horrible pillar type things, and I knew it wasn't going to work. They weren't thick enough, they weren't good enough, so I just decided to go straight back to the storyboard, straight back to the drawing board, whatever you want to call it, and just start again. So I start off with this awesome huge gate, these pillars on both sides. I think it looks amazing at this point. I start off with this huge gate there, which is going to be on either side. I start off with this kind of a stairway up, and I make the other side just more curved so it looks, you know, more natural. And then I start decorating the middle here. So I do this by making some slips, some cool little areas just to give it more detail, and I make this little tree pattern in the middle which I thought was pretty cool and I really enjoyed it. So here we are, we're back, we've got the base started, and now we've got to make the second layer. The second layer is going to be smaller to try and make it look more like a tower, and it's going to semi follow the same pattern as before. So I start off with this cool kind of a Gothic cathedral kind of look here, and I actually stick with this because I really like it. I think it adds a cool pillar effect without making it too big. So here I am, I make another circle in the middle. Now I didn't want to go circle overhaul, but I think this one works pretty good. I had a cool kind of sign in the middle, kind of looks like an omega symbol if you've ever seen one of those, and I think it looks pretty good in the end. It kind of gives the whole tree a lot more character. So I just make some of these cool little inlets and make it look all nice. So I experiment with some things on top, and I just decide, no, I'm not going to do it. So I need to clean up all of these outsides, and I just do that now. So here I am starting off with a tree on top. I think it turned out pretty well. This is my first ever serious tree in Minecraft, and to be honest, I think it was pretty good for first attempt. Now there's lots of things I've done wrong, lots of things people have told me I've done wrong, which I touch up later on in the video, but I think I did pretty good, to be honest. For my first attempt, I think I'm really happy with it. So I start off with these cool kind of branches, bring enough, because this is the Tower of Trees, right? It has to have a huge tree on top. So I make these cool kind of, it kind of looks dead at the moment, but I think it looks pretty good. It has these cool branches coming off one another, and I'm really a big fan of it. So I go through, I'm just smoothing it all out at this point, and I think it looks pretty good. So here I am just smoothing it out, and then we've done it. Now the audio video corrupted here, so it's really zoomed in and horrible, I'm sorry about that, but here I am, I just make these branches, these smaller like twigs coming off of it so I can place the leaves. Now I was following Gemini Tay's tutorial on how to make a really cool looking tree, so without her this wouldn't have been possible, so a big shout out for her. So she makes great YouTube tutorials on many things in Minecraft. Now in her tutorial she added one or two little like plops of leaves at the end of her build, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have lots of leaves, so I kind of did this. Now some people would say this looks a little bit silly because they're going down branches, but I personally really like this look. So for the most part, the tree's done. As you just saw, the tree is basically done. So I try and make the tree look more attached to the surroundings by adding these huge handmade roots, and I think it turns out pretty good, but it still looks awkward on top of it. So here we are at a midway point through the build. The build is looking really good at the moment, and I'm loving how it looks. So now, without further ado, let's just get to it. Let's make these floating islands. Let's just make this thing look awesome. So I bring the roots down, these huge roots, and I bring them all the way down. Now I do this by hand at first, but later on I'm just going to use the curve tool because it's much better. And I bring them down, and they don't look great. They're not thick enough. They just look like pathetic little roots. But at the moment I am loving how this build is slowly turning out. This is the biggest build I've ever done in Minecraft. Now the stairs are broken there, but let's ignore that. So here I am. I think I just used a curve tool. I can't remember exactly, but here I go. I go around the whole build and make it so it looks more attached to it again. And I think I also, up above, am just making a few additions to the bottom of the trunk so it looks more attached. I also make another one so it's kind of like a double helix, I think it's called, going down the tower. So yeah, I'm just trying to make this look as awesome, as huge, as amazing as possible, and I think it's gone pretty well. It looks very much like it's overgrown tower, and it's a tower of trees. So here it is at the moment. I think it looks pretty good. I'm just making some small additions. I'm making it look more attached. So this is an old way of making floating islands. You turn everything into sand, you turn it all into stone, and now you flip it and you've got a floating island, as you can see. So I place this floating island all around the place and I can't really get it right. And I want to have this cool idea of these roots kind of attaching to it, like all of the trees are interconnected. And I try this multiple times, but none of them really work out for me, which is a huge pain. But I actually change this design in a minute, but I'm adding all of these roots to the island like it's being gripped on by the root itself. Now I make it smaller because I want it to be more dangly. So I do that, and I do it to the other one as well. I don't want to show you that because it's exactly the same. I add some leaves to it so it makes it look more overgrown. And I start on these two very small trees. Now these didn't turn out exactly how I wanted them, because it's a much more smaller scale. I still think they turned out pretty good. I'm really happy with them. And here I am, just making it look more overgrown by adding a bunch of orange wool and then turning it into wood, and it just makes it look a lot more overgrown and a lot better. So now we're just going to do a quick flyby over to the second one, and here we're going to be making, well, the second tree. What a surprise that was. So here I am. It's basically exactly the same tree. I just wanted to make this one a lot more thicker, a lot more... Well, I learned from my mistakes basically, but I actually think this one turned out a lot worse. I really didn't like this one. I went back to it many times and just changed it around. Now I'm doing it with green wool this time. I don't know why I keep changing wools. I think it's the first one I see I use, but just to make it look even more overgrown. So yeah, without further ado, I present to you the Tower of Trees. Right, thank you guys very much for watching until the end of the video. I had lots of fun building this, and I think it turned out really good. I had lots of fun editing it as well. It's a new editing style for me, and I really enjoyed it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all of that jazz, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.